to set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
And welcome back. We're talking superheroes. We're talking what might be. Here's what's happened. Daredevil might be Marvel's greatest live action property, position, world that we can all experience together right now. The work that they've done with Daredevil, including his appearance in She-Hulk, which and I think are the better episodes of that She-Hulk series, are the Matt Murdock Daredevil episodes, which is roughly 2. It's all Matt Murdock. It's all the blind guy. It's all the red-horned Daredevil. It's clear watching, and we only have one episode, Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1, and watching this, it really solidified with me. We're not excited for Robert Downey Jr. coming back, and guys, welcome back. It's Peter A. DeLuca here. We're talking. It's the Film Buff Podcast. I guess this is a little bit of a rant episode. No real direction other than start watching Daredevil. Start getting into Daredevil. He's been featured in Spider-Man No Way Home. So he's got one Marvel movie, one additional Marvel series, and 6 seasons now? Which really makes right. He's got 4 for Netflix and Born Again seasons 1 and 2. This character, right? And let's just, we're all over the place here. Let's go back to the Robert Downey Jr. point real quick. We're not really excited for him as Doctor Doom because we can clearly see that the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom is not going to be Victor Von Doom or the arch nemesis of Reed Richards. He's not going to be the rival of Reed Richards. That's the Doctor Doom that we want. We want the tortured gypsy Doctor Doom that has a little tiny scar on his face but wears a mask because he's imperfect and no one can see him as imperfect, so he chooses to cover himself. That's the Doctor Doom that we fell in love with, and that is Doctor Doom, not a version of. And even we go through some of the cartoon work, early mid 70s all the way up through the 90s with the Fantastic Four syndicated cartoon that we profiled here. We know what we want with this character, and we're not going to get it with Robert Downey Jr. Now, we may get something else that could be equally or more, or just flat out, entertaining, right? Entertain me. But until now, we had Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., and Iron Man. This was the portrayal. This was the live action version of even when James Gunn leaves Marvel, and rightfully so, because he's pursuing a hell of an opportunity. Signs with Time Warner, Discovery, AT&T, whatever mega corporation owns DC Comics, he forms or relabels or reskins everything as DC Studios. And he goes into a new Superman movie. That casting and everything around the beginning of that movie is compared to Robert Downey Jr.'s perfect casting for Iron Man. So we got an Iron Man trilogy, which, in my view, perfectly deconstructs the character. We get multiple Avenger movies. We get Tony Stark as a proxy to introduce the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man with Civil War, and then later with Homecoming. So the Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, it's weaved into the fabric of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is why it was such a loss with Endgame, when a lot of these fibers, a lot of what we saw with Steve Rogers, even Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy disbanding post Volume 3. A lot of what we grew loving about the MCU, phases 1, 2, and 3, was dissolved by the end of Endgame. But what emerged is now the new Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, which is what we have here with, what's his name? Charlie Cox. I had I had to look that up real quick because I almost said Charlie Kirk, and we know that's not true. We know Charlie Kirk is not Daredevil or was Daredevil. Charlie Cox is this new monolith. He's an absolute monolith when it comes to this role, this character. And then here we go. So let's talk season 2, episode 1. When we roll Charlie Cox into the whole arc now of Daredevil, the Netflix seasons are phenomenal. You watch this, you want to go back to watch Netflix. You want to watch, as soon as you get any new Daredevil, you want to go back to start rewatching all of it. I'm on the record. I'm not crazy for Daredevil Born Again season 1. I still don't like what happened with Bullseye in that, but now we have something interesting, and this is the exact path that the comic books discovered with, we gotta say, Frank Miller transformed the character forever. Not only do we have a path of Matt Murdock, Daredevil, but we also have a path of Kingpin, his arch nemesis, slowly built through the Netflix series. He comes into his own by the time we run into him in Daredevil Born Again season 1. Daredevil Born Again season 1 is almost a Kingpin, right? Like, we're splitting, and a lot of the promo artwork or there's promo poster that we're using for this episode's thumbnail splits. It's almost like a playing card. It's right on the top, Daredevil, white on the bottom for Kingpin. It's splitting the narrative, right? Just through a nice little visual. But Kingpin, right? We've seen him in other Marvel projects. We've seen him in Echo. We've seen Kingpin in Hawkeye. Marvel Studios has put as much effort in Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin as they have with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. You watch this show, you want to see both of them. This show begins with how we want to see Daredevil, just going crazy, beating ass. And then it transitions right into Kingpin doing Kingpin things. And then what's caught in the middle is what I feel now, a incredible supporting cast. There's a cast of characters now that orbit the Daredevil universe that I'm back to caring about. I wasn't nuts over season 1. I didn't like a lot of these characters. I thought these subplots. Here's the other crazy fact. When I went to Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus and pressed play, I'm right, it should season 2, episode 1. No, it plays season 1, episode 9. And I'm watching it, and I realized that I never finished Born Again. See, I thought it was the eighth episode was the last episode. And I skipped it. I skipped the rap. However, Daredevil season 1 ends, and I just leapfrogged. And I think that's a little bit of how a lot of us would absorb the comic books back in one day, where you would skip 5 or 6 issues from time to time, and maybe go and back issue dive and hit a couple comic shops on a Saturday to see if you could hunt down a gap. Hoping not to pay a lot of money for it. Even back when I was growing up, it was common that back issues were roughly like $3. As prices rose, as we hit the $2.99 cover price, like 5 to 6 became. Like usually you pay double for back issues if they're nice. Now there's always quarter bins and dollar boxes, and you can dig through that, but a lot of that is beat up and broken inventory. But either way, you would absorb American comics sometimes through gaps and be somewhat into a transition of a character, and it just brightens your eyes. It gets you going. It's fun to read to say to yourself, wow, this is what Daredevil's doing now. Like, how did he get here? Okay, I have to go back, but I'm buying next month's issue. That's a lot of the landscape of American comic book reading that today does not exist, because everything is a different volume. Different volumes represent different creative teams, storylines, and status quos. They run that direction for as long as they can, and they kind of reboot the series. And that's a little bit, and where the state of American comic books now is, let me just say this, because I feel like I have to paint the picture a little bit for you guys. When I was growing up reading these books, collecting them just obsessively, obsessive geek dork nerd, I hid comics from all of my friends. No one knew. Like, it was probably like after high school that people knew I actually liked comic books. A little bit of an exaggeration there. I had some close friends, but we didn't talk about it. Like, we didn't go to school talking about it. If a book ended at issue 50, it was considered a failure. Books at the time had to hit issue 100 to really be significant. I grew up around the Image comics. It was significant that every single one of the Image comics hit issue 100. A 10-year plus journey to get to issue 100. And the wild thing is, a lot of them they even get close. Like Shadowhawk, I'm looking at you. Pitt, I'm looking at you. The Max, R.I.P. Sam Keith, I'm looking at you. A lot of these guys, like even in the case of the Max, they just ended a storyline and just like hung up the title and moved on with their careers. Darkness, Witchblade, Spawn, Savage Dragon, 100 plus issues, all major successes. I mean, I think every single one of those, right? Outside of Savage, have video games, so that tells you right there. But now, with the state of the American comic book industry, it's 5 issues. It's a struggle for comics to breach 5 issues, and to me, that is sad. That's something I wish I could help get back to, but well, that's just the state. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But AKAPADers, let me just say this. I'm into all the political stuff with the Kingpin and all the crime stuff, and Matthew Lillard's character, who is awesome, moving military arms unseen, unnoticed, undetected, pushing the Kingpin, being adversarial to the Kingpin, to where we need to get good men on this, but your men are going to have to get killed as soon as they handle the military equipment. AKAPADers, it's good intrigue, it's good stuff. Everything that they're doing with Daredevil now, it's fun. Just watching this episode kind of brought me back, and yeah, I'm just going to start rewatching the Netflix stuff. I have to. I gotta just watch all of it again. It's so freaking good. All right, AKAPADers, a little bit of a Daredevil season 2, Born Again season 2, episode 1 rant. I'm looking forward to the entire season. Love you guys. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.